The arts help build the reputation of this region, which then leads to attraction of talent and new business and cultural tourists. And Blink is sort of an international calling card at this point.
It is.
2 million people are expected. We are the engine for the arts in the Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky region. For nearly 100 years, the ArtsWave campaign has been how the arts are funded throughout this region. And it's an annual fund drive with tens of thousands of donors. Started in 1927 with a challenge from the Taft family. And to this day, this is the primary source of arts funding in the region. About 150 grants every single year. The largest source of unrestricted operating support for many organizations. And it's been a stable source of funding because of the generosity of this community.
Yeah. Look, and I think about 100 years, because you're celebrating 100 years.
100
and
years.
When is that celebration? It's soon, right?
It's 2027.
Okay.
Will be the centennial of the time that the Taft family challenged Cincinnati. Said we will leave our art collection and $1 million
Incredible.
to the people of Cincinnati, provided that the people show they would value this gift by matching the contribution. And within 3 months, in 1927, 3,500 Cincinnatians had contributed $2.5 million.
Wow.
And the Tafts added their 1 million, and that created this organization today, DBA ArtsWave.
Yes.
But our founding name is the Cincinnati Institute of Fine Arts. And the vision was that this endowment would protect and sustain the organizations in existence, which at that time were the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra and Cincinnati Art Museum.
Right.
But also be for the benefit of arts organizations and art forms yet to be imagined.
Which is so cool.
So cool. Like, think of Blink.
Let's actually talk about that. Yet to be imagined. For me, I'm loving the growth and where things are going, and AI and how people are automating and utilizing. And so I think about art. And to me, art is such an experience that this might even more shine a light on ArtsWaves and the importance of the arts. What do you see? I'm sure you're having these conversations as a leader, in the arts community on AI and on the future.
Well, AI is a complicated subject for artists, right? And responsible use of it is something that we are exploring here. We have a wonderful person on my team who's director of digital products.
Okay.
And her background is experiential design, and she's actually leading sessions at conferences this spring and summer about how arts organizations can responsibly use AI and help others in the community be responsible about it. Digital content, is the currency of our era, right?
Right.
Well, the way we incorporate technology into the experience of the arts, is vital,
Right.
to meet the needs of today's audiences and consumers. We are a tech-based society, and so a museum goer, for instance, expects to find interactive, tech-based, software-based exhibits, and to contribute to the creation of the art as part of the experience, not just being a passive observer of it. So tech enables that in so many ways. And as we become an increasingly, screen-based society.
Yes, we are.
We are.
And even the kids, right? They're like in the closet with their screen, like hiding. Wait, what are you doing?
Right.
No screen time.
Right. Like, on the one hand, that's amazing and opening up new worlds, and how AI pushes those worlds forward. But on the other hand, we know that that's not the most healthiest way to be a human. And so the arts are kind of a counterpart to that, or can be.
Yeah.
So, it's both and. things need to be high tech in the arts to meet the expectations of audiences, but the arts are inherently a way to be in, humanity, community together.
So when we talk to CEOs, we're hearing all their perspectives on AI, digital, all the things, right? And you just brought back a thought that I had. We were minting NFTs.
Yes.
Right? So
yes.
Is this anything that the arts community talks about?
Of course. And there are fascinating artists around the country and around the world who are at the cutting edge of NFT art. We had a women's leadership symposium one year where some experts in that from the University of Cincinnati came, and we each set up our own NFT account. And
that's cool.
Yeah. We learned together. We talked a moment ago about arts education, and our biggest program here at ArtsWave right now is called More Arts, More Kids, related to art education and exposure. We're trying to systemically address the fact that only 50% of schools in the U.S. take field trips to the arts anymore.
Oh my God. I had no idea that it was that.
Yeah, it's art in the classrooms and band and visual arts. It's the first thing to be cut, a field trip program. And not only that, but you can have one neighborhood school with a great PTO and resources that go, and in another neighborhood school that doesn't have those same resources. So those kids miss out. So it's not, it hasn't been an equitable system. But when you think of how many kids need that exposure, we are trying to work district by district so that every first through sixth grader has at least one arts field trip every year.
That's
and
wonderful.
It's the same one. All schools in the district, the first grade goes to the Cincinnati Symphony Youth Concert at Music Hall. And every second grader goes to see a Cincinnati Ballet family production. And every third grader goes to the Cincinnati Children's Theater. And every fourth grader goes to the Cincinnati Art Museum. By the time you're in sixth grade, you can look back on your elementary school career having been inside our incredible cultural venues and feel like there's something in it for me. There's it's a welcoming place. I want to go back. And if we don't do that, we aren't exposing them. They're not going to take advantage of all that we have when they grow up. So it's an investment in the future. $20 sends a kid on an arts field trip, and just imagine the ripple effect of that if our entire region, district by district, was making that commitment.
A question I have for you then is, when I think about you as a child, tell me about what drew you to the arts, and kind of like, how did you get here from that point?
Well, it's been a very intentional and organic story. When I was a toddler, there was a coffee table book in my parents' house of the masters, the Renaissance master painters, and French Impressionists. And I would go through that book, enchanted by the pictures. And my parents took me to a dinner party they had been invited to, and the host greeted them, and there was a picture on the wall, and I'm like 2.5, and I point to it and I say, Renoir. And everybody thought that my parents were like raising this genius child, right? Yeah. So I guess, I've been fortunate to have art all around me. I grew up in Los Angeles and, did all the things, but one interesting thing early on in my elementary school experience was being part of a Mexican folklorico dance troupe. So I began dancing Mexican folk dance, and I can still do the footwork. And that really began a lifelong passion for dance, and I studied dance and other forms of dance, obviously, and went to college as a dance major, and then added journalism. So my undergraduate degree is in performing arts journalism, and I wanted to be a dance writer. Critic. And it turned out that the discipline and practice of writing about what you are seeing is an ephemeral art form, right? And this was kind of before video. Right. That dates me. really the dance critic or journalist was translating what was happening on a stage, whether it's theater or music or dance or visual art, in a way that the general public reading can understand and maybe even more importantly understand why that matters.
Right.
That discipline turned out to be the perfect pathway to fundraising in the arts. Although I didn't set out to do that, I did then get an MBA because I realized I had gone through college with nothing but art and creative writing. So I got my business degree, and then I had a chance to move to Moscow, Russia, and I was a dance writer for the Moscow Times. And
How long were you in Moscow?
a couple of years.
Really?
Yeah,
My dad loved it. He's a scientist, and he was like, "This is such a unique place to be."
What years was he there? Do you know?
He was there, so he worked for the Food and Drug Administration, but he was in charge of their national labs, and he was there with the bioterror unit with the FBI, founded under Bush, President 43. So he was there on behalf of the U.S., there learning from scientists that had created bioterror.
Wow.
He's really down the rabbit hole. But he said it's running through, is it Moscow Square? Is that what it's called? Or what is it called?
Red Square.
The Red Square. He said it was so breathtaking when he would do his morning runs and just take it all in.
Yeah.
But he misses those scientists. They were they were great, and the people were great. And
they're highly educated people.
Yes.
Doing menial jobs. It's very humbling.
Yes.
But while I was there, I got to be backstage at the Bolshoi, and
Wow.
I have lots of funny stories about that. And I
bet you do.
I do. I lived in an apartment complex that had been built for Bolshoi dancers and musicians. So it was nicer than many apartments in Moscow.
Yes, I bet it was. Yes.
I had a good experience. And then I left and moved to New York. So LA. My first snowy winter was a Russian winter, being a girl from Southern California.
Did you get your fur out and all the
I
things?
had so many layers.
Yes, you had to.
Yeah. So I had to learn to tolerate the cold really fast. Then I moved to New York and started at Dance Theater Workshop as a grant writer, became development director, and then I heard of an organization in Hartford, Connecticut that did a United Arts campaign, and I loved what I did in New York, which was on behalf of multiple dance companies across the country. I loved that so much, rather than one season at a time or one particular artistic vision. But the idea that the Greater Hartford Arts Council was asking businesses and employees to come together to fund the arts, I thought, that's what I want to do. I want to work with businesses and arts organizations to make vibrant communities. So I was in Hartford for 10 years. In varying roles. My first day on the job, I said to my boss, how do you do this? How do you convince so many CEOs and employees to contribute through payroll deduction to fund the arts? And he said, let's call Cincinnati. Let's call the Fine Arts Fund, which was our name at the time, and talk to its director, Mary McCullough Hudson, because nobody does it better than Cincinnati.
Wow.
So my first day on the job, a job I had for 10 years, I called this organization.
Like Cincinnati, and you were benchmarking.
We were benchmarking. And I now, of course, understand that there is a secret sauce.
Yes,
that
you guys do have a secret sauce.
Replicable.
No.
Because of this incredible community and the legacy and the history. But we did benchmark for 10 years, and I never, ever imagined that
it would bring you here from all those travels.
I know.
Honestly, I think about that, and I love traveling, so I like your story. I can see that it adds to just make you such a well-rounded, good fit for our city, and bringing so much more culture with you too, right? To the city, which is a great ad. I don't know that I'll get over the living in Moscow.
Well, I can top it.
That is so cool. You can
top it, Erin. So after 10 years in Hartford, it was a moment that women will understand. It was like, oops, I forgot to have a baby.
Yeah.
And I realized that I needed to get on that.
Yes,
and
yes.
I ended up.
That is a true moment
It
for
is
our
a
male
moment.
listeners,
Yes,
right?
right. It is for career
Driven women. Yeah.
because it's really hard to do it all.
Yes. Yes.
And sustain it. Anyway, I got pregnant with twins, which
my
was
goodness.
ironic.
Yes.
And
You were done, one and done at that point.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, hard as it was. But my husband and I quit our jobs, sold our home, and took these 2 babies to a Caribbean island and lived there for 4 years.
You're incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
We're grabbing drinks after this.
Yeah.
It might only be 9 or 10 a.m.
It was the Bay Islands of Honduras,
Okay.
which is on the Caribbean side, and
Wow.
we were on the largest of the islands called Roatan, which is famous for scuba. And
Do you scuba?
no,
Okay.
no.
I would have been like, wow, if you do this, I
no,
just
no,
need to
no,
drop
no.
the mic and walk out of here
No,
because.
yeah. But I sit on the beach really well.
Yeah.
With a a nice drink. But
Yes.
the irony was, as parents of 2 babies in
Yes.
another third world country,
Right.
it had its challenges.
Well, yes, that whole sentence has its challenges. Of course it did.
Yeah.
But that is
Yeah.
kind of incredible. You picked what I think is a tough time, right? Those sleepless
Oh my gosh.
days, and you have 2 of them.
2 of them at once.
And you're probably doing
and
formula and all the things.
all the
So
things.
You need safe
And
water and
all the things, diapers,
things.
like the
Yes.
things that U.S. parents take for granted, play
yes.
groups.
Yes,
And,
we did. I take all that for granted,
Yeah. So we had an account with at the time, it was before Amazon.
Yes.
So there was drugstore.com,
Right.
which would ship,
Yes.
diapers and.
I think for my son who says, I want to be a drawer, how do I foster that? Like, what would be your advice? Because I've been contemplating it, how would I help him foster those skills? Because he loves it. He will draw for like 3 hours at a time.
Oh, that's
And he's
fantastic.
incredible. And he's incredible.
Yeah. Well, I would encourage you to look at summer camps, and in the ArtsWave app, you can find.
Okay, I can find. Okay.
find summer camps, and expose them to a variety of art forms.
Okay.
And camps are a great way to do that, a week at a time, and give them something to do in the summer.
Yes, definitely.
Really important.
Definitely.
And I would suggest, as a family, you commit to at least a quarterly arts experience,
That's a
if
good
not
idea.
a season.
Yes.
The Cincinnati Children's Theater has a
Yes.
new old home on
Yes,
Walnut
it's
Street,
right
the
here.
Armory
Yes,
Theater.
down the street.
Yeah, $60 million restoration
Yes.
of, I think, one of 2 acoustically perfect halls in the country.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. And it, if you can believe it, is the country's most technologically advanced theater. And it is for children, professional theater for children. It uses sort of 360 surround projection mapping to create an immersive experience. And this is another way that the arts are putting Cincinnati on the map, because other venues and producers are going to be watching how the Children's Theater of Cincinnati, established in like 1928, I think.
Yes, right around the time of you guys, which is incredible.
Right, or maybe a little before. Anyway,
Yeah.
the same era is producing all these incredible cultural organizations that are still thriving today. So season tickets for the
Okay.
Children's Theater, or at least, a couple
Yeah,
times a
something
year.
like that. That's really good. This
Yeah.
is really good advice, because as someone that I'm like, okay, they did not get this from me. It's obviously it skipped a generation. My mom has it, my sister has it, but I think it's such a good thing that they have the spark. I didn't have the spark as a child. I was like, sign me up for swimming, sign me up for volleyball. But they're taking classes at the school that are
That's good.
offered. There's a local program where they
Yep.
come to the school.
Right. Our
And-
library system is incredible, as you know.
Okay,
And,
yes.
and there's lots of accessible art through the libraries. And each of our arts organizations has a series or a program geared for children and families. So
yeah.
there are lots of ways to access.
When I think about your leadership, because I was reading up on you before this, And I'm like, wow, Alecia Kintner, as CEO, you've, I think, transformed and helped grow in a very good way. Can you talk about what you're most proud of here with your leadership?
Well, first of all, thank you. That's nice. Most proud of.
I know there's a lot to be proud of.
Well, I don't really deserve credit for it because we have. I inherited an incredible organization that had just gone through a massive change. They changed the name from the Fine Arts Fund to ArtsWave, meant to symbolize a pretty radical transformation of mission and vision. So that had been established for me, and I was the lucky one to be able to continue it on. But yeah, incredible leadership at the board level and an incredible team and incredible volunteers and tens of thousands of donors. Like it is a dream situation in a community that values the arts. Like I couldn't imagine a better place. But I am proud of how I've kind of loosened up the board.
Yes. Which is good, probably, right?
It is for a 100-year-old organization, right? Like there's a lot to protect and keep the same.
Right.
But over the last 15 years, we have learned to embrace risk and experimentation in fun ways and some pretty radical ways.
Good.
Yeah.
I think it's so healthy for an organization to continue to think outside the box. Yes, you're endowed, you're doing amazing things, but how can you continue to think and bring people in? And I think you guys are just doing that so glowingly. And when we invite friends in from all over the states to like come experience Blink with us, it's so fun. And really, there's nothing else like it. You know, my parents accidentally were in Vienna during their like luminosity type event that they had. And my mom came back and said she thought ours was just tremendous in comparison to theirs. And I remember that really was like incredible. And this was a while ago. Like
that's sensational.
Right. And so they weren't planning to go there for that. They happened to be there at that time. And to hear her say that, I was like, well, what a great city that we have this as an option.
I'm not sure everybody appreciates what an extraordinary place this is.
Well, and it takes you guys and all the partners and collaborators, because I think we do have tremendous collaboration in the city. And I think about, you know, you're trying to bring everybody in and everyone along within the region, like you said, from Kentucky, northern Kentucky, all the way up to northern Cincinnati, right here downtown, and all parties to just help the economic impact, but then the ripple effect that you're talking about. So we do ask everyone a fun question, like a cut loose question. And I would love to hear your answer on this. So we ask people, if the world is ending, right, the doomsday scenario, what would be in your bug out bag? If you can pick some things, it's not your pets and family. Okay, they're with you, but what would you bring? And I've heard everything from serious to non-serious answers, so I'm interested in yours.
What would I bring?
Your fur coat from Moscow.
Well, it would be really difficult to bring this, but I have a treasured piece of furniture.
You bring it. Absolutely.
It's an armoire made in the 1800s in Bavaria.
Goodness.
Hand painted. It was like the first antique I purchased as a young adult, and it has been around the world with me.
That's incredible.
Yes, it has. And it is like the focal point of my living room. It's red and
oh my gosh,
and chipped, and
it's got character.
It's got a lot
that
of
has
character.
to come with you. Okay, that's coming with you.
Me. The end of the world. Yes,
I love it. And at least you'll have that, maybe in a good glass of wine or something. You know?
Yes, that's perfect. Yeah, I'll just crawl into the armoire and huddle up.
Is there something that we had this great conversation today, but I'm thinking about, is there something that you wanted to share with our listeners that you haven't shared with our listeners?
Well, extend a wholehearted invitation to everyone to join ArtsWave, be part of this incredible cultural community, and part of a legacy that is fast forward into the future. And you could be part of that so easily.
I couldn't agree more. And I would say for them to get on and download the app, contribute and find and be connected, because I know now I want to go and do that for my kids and for me and my husband.
Yes.
So that's so awesome. Thank you for your time today.
Well, thank you.
I know you said you had a podcast.
Yes.
Prior to this. Yes. And how can you end it for our listeners the way you ended your podcast?
My arts wrap with Alecia. Well,
yes.
Erin, it's a wrap.
Thank you.